Good morning. It's Wednesday, the 19th of May, 2021. And we're looking at the word at the present time this morning. We're sort of going through the life of Elijah. And we ended up last week for tremendous display of who is God. We were in Mount Carmel, and the two sacrifices, of course, Baal's didn't work. But never Elijah's did work, and the Lord came down and consumed everything. It says at verse 38, and Yahweh's fire fell, consuming the burnt offering of wood and stone and dust that licked up the water that was in the trench. And when all the people saw it, they fell on their faces and said, Yahweh is God. Yahweh is God. Powerful to see that there. What an excitement it was there. Of course, Elijah moved in right away, and there was a price to pay, these prophets of Baal. And it says that at verse 40 of 1 Kings 18, it said, Elijah ordered them, seize the prophets of Baal. Do not let even one of them escape. So they seized them, and Elijah brought them down to the Wadi Kishon and slaughtered them there. Wow. And Elijah then said to Ahab, go up and eat and drink. There is a sound of a rainstorm. Right? So the country was going to be released from the curse that God put on it because of their disobedience, because of the disobedience of the king, Jezebel, all the cruelty that was taking place as it looked forward in the other lessons. So here now the curse is going to be lifted. It still hinges on Elijah. So Ahab went to eat and drink, but Elijah went up to the summit of Carmel. He bowed down on the ground and put his face between his knees. Then he said to his servant, go up and look forward to the sea. Now, I reckon they could maybe see the Mediterranean Sea from here, So he went up and looked, and he says, there's nothing. 7 times Elijah said, go back. So we can imagine each time Elijah praying, and the servant going looking, nothing happened. 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 7 times that occurred. And it's sort of like we note there is that whenever you're praying for something, don't give up. Keep praying about it. Keep praying about it. God will answer yea or nay, but keep praying about it. Don't give up in prayer. Prayer is the most greatest weapon we ever had. We had a great time this morning, 4 or 5 of us praying together. And it's wonderful to do that, praying with other believers and praying yourself, of course. But don't give up in your prayers. Keep going, more than 7, until God gives you an answer. But it says here, verse 44, on the 7th time he reported, there's a cloud so small, a man's hand, like a man's hand, as small as a man's hand coming out of the sea. Elijah twanged on, prayer answered. Now I think it's in the book of James where you see Elijah read about this, praying for rain, and there was rain. But it also says, I think in James 2, it says, James, the book of James, I think it says about, I hope it's the book of James, it might be Jude, but it says about Elijah having the same nature as us. So there wasn't it is ups and downs and etc. It's just the same as you and me. Anyway, look what it says. Then Elijah said, "Go and tell Ahab, get your chariot ready and go down, so the rain doesn't stop you." Now remember, it hasn't been raining for 3.5 years. Wow! In a little while, the sky grew dark with clouds and wind, and there was a downpour. So Ahab got in his chariot and went to Jezreel. And the power of the Lord was on Elijah. And he tucked up his mantle under his belt and ran ahead of Ahab to the entrance of Jezreel. Not incredible, isn't it, He must have been really traveling, this guy. So we'll look at the next chapter. Okay. So what happened? Elijah waited outside. He didn't go in. And Ahab went in, of course, in verse 1 of 1 Kings 19. Ahab told Jezebel everything that Elijah had done and how he had killed all the prophets with a sword. So Jezebel said to the messenger, sent a messenger to Elijah, saying, "May the gods punish me and do so severe if I don't make your life like the life of one of the if I don't make your life like the life of one of them by this time tomorrow." And Elijah was afraid. Wow, she's a tight one. This one here, this she didn't bend onto the one. She's really bad articles, bad. Right? So, and it says there in verse 8, Elijah became afraid. I looked at this translation of this word "afraid" here, and it actually meant, he saw the circumstances, what there was. And Elijah came afraid, and immediately he ran for his life. When he came to Beersheba, that belonged to Judah, he left his servant there, and he went on a day's journey into the wilderness, and he sat under a broom tree and prayed that he might die. And he said, "I have had enough." Now, I don't know about you or me, sometimes in situations that you're in, you say that to you, "I've had enough, I can't stick anymore. I'm breaking under the pressure here." Now, lots of things can have you there. Number one is that you could be physically tired, you could be ill, you could be just exhausted. And Elijah was exhausted here. So the natural body was letting him down, and he just felt the end of his tether. He just was up there in Mount Carmel, and the only one there that was believing, and he was on his own and great strength, and he was encouraged what to do, and he was doing it. But the end result, it didn't work out the way he thought it would work out. So it didn't work out. That he thought he was going to get rid of them all. He was going to get rid of Jezebel too. Here, the lot was all going to, but it didn't work out. Sometimes situations that we're in, we hope to see them working out, and they don't work out the way we desire to see it work out, and we can get depressed over that. Also, too, another point, I was warned years ago by a lovely believer who's gone to heaven now, a great teacher, and he turned around to me, he says, "Raymond, never make a choice, a spiritual decision, if you're not feeling well." Golden rule. And he's so right. If you're not feeling up to scratch, you can't make a decision on anything at the right time. But Elijah was afraid, and he ran for his life, and he just says, "I have enough. I can't take any more." And he was in such a situation, he was so low that he turned around and he says, "Take my life." He says, "I've had enough. Lord, take my life, for I am no better than my fathers." He felt as if all the things that God used him to do, it's not working. But God's not like that, Lord. And he says he lay down and slept under the broom tree, totally physically exhausted he was. And it says, suddenly an angel came, touched him, and the angel told him, "Get up and eat." Wow. And he looked, and there was, at his head was a loaf of bread baked over hot stones and a jug of water. So he ate and drank and lay down again. Wasn't enough to bring him round, but it was a start. Then the angel of the Lord returned for a second time and touched him. He says, "Get up and eat, for the journey will be too much for you." So he got up and ate and drank, and on the strength of that food, he walked 40 days and 40 nights to Hebron, the mountain of God, and he entered a cave there and spent the night. Whatever was on that bread, that was some energy, I'm telling you. I think it's about close on maybe, I don't know, it could be, I think it was a couple of 100 miles maybe that he walked. It was a tremendous distance he walked anyway, to this mountain, or I'm not too sure, but it was a tremendous distance anyway. And he entered a cave and spent the night there. Then the words of the Lord came to him, and he said to him, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" Sometimes the Lord will say that to you. "What are you doing here, Raymond? What are you doing here?" We always need to listen to the Lord, Sometimes we can go ahead of the program, of God's program, and that's a disaster too. You always go do what the Lord tells you to do. And he replied and said, "I've been very zealous for the Lord of hosts, for the Lord God of hosts, But the Israelites have abandoned your covenant and tore down your altars and killed your prophets with the sword, and I am alone. I am left, and I am alone and left, and they have looked for me to take my life. So what did the Lord say? He didn't. He said, go out and stand on the mountain of the Lord's presence. Well, look what happened next week. You know what? Never even looked out of the cave. So the main thing is, stick with God's program. Watch when we get down the dumps, especially physically. And sometimes things don't work out the way you want them to work out. But just trust the Lord all the time. May the Lord bless you. Bye.